Now go.
All right, now go. It's Andy in the afternoon. I'm Andy. Christian's right over here, and today we've got a pretty cool guest. I'll put it this way. He wrote the book on rock drumming, and people like John Lennon and Neil Peart read it. He's right over there.
John Lennon?
Neil, did I say John Lennon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. John Bonham. John
Bonham
Lennon was
also.
a shit drummer.
Oh, yeah, John Bonham also.
John Bonham.
He's not even the best drummer in the Beatles.
It's my it's a little undigested bit of my tuna fish sandwich this afternoon. Carmine, thanks for joining us.
Hey, okay.
Now this is on Facebook Live. Anybody anywhere can ask questions. So we might get questions nationally and internationally. But the reason he's here, he wrote this book. This isn't the drumming book. This is a book on his life and times in the world of rock and roll. It's called Stick It. What's the subtitle?
My life of sex, drums, and rock and roll, and he's not lying about that.
Right.
I was just sort of, I was explaining to Carmine earlier that I was disappointed that the sex and drugs and drums was on every other page and not every page. But the next one...
The next one I'll have to just do a book and call it Sex.
I mean, there's a lot of it happening.
There was a lot.
I mean...
There was a lot happening. You know, and there was more in it. My writer actually took some out, and when I read it through, I said we should, maybe we should take some more out, because he said, look, you want to be really honest, you wanted the book to be honest, and get the feel of what it was really like to be a rock star in those days.
Yeah.
And those were all before like AIDS and before herpes and all that weird stuff.
Right.
Where anything you did, a shot got rid of it. So, and also you got to remember too, those times were different than now. I mean, back then women were just coming out sexually. They just had birth control pills and
burning bras.
And they were ready to. Come on, you're walking around with a see-through blouse with nothing on underneath. What do you expect?
They were shackled.
Yeah.
Now they're not.
Can you imagine doing that now? Chicks walking around like that now? They'd be like...
I can imagine it.
They'd be arrested.
Right. Yeah, no, it's true. Like it was...
it's different.
We become more puritanical as time's gone on instead of the opposite.
It's a different time, that even the public's consciousness was so different than now. I mean, we used to do what we did every night. What's his name? Tyson got put in jail for it. But, when he got put in jail for that, I said, wow, we should do that every night 30 years ago. But it's just different now.
Do you have regrets of some of those times? Looking back on it, there's certain things that haunt you about it as well as the fun memories?
Well, we did treat some of the women pretty badly, but they were up for it, I would never do that now,
Right.
And especially since I have a daughter, there was around the age of the women in that book.
Right. Has that changed your perspective at all,
totally.
looking back?
Totally.
You're like, wow, that was somebody else's daughter?
Yeah, but I wasn't,
Right.
Yeah,
I wasn't my age now.
Right.
I have a daughter.
Now, I met a woman the other day who was 26 years old, my daughter's age, at Nashville. She was beautiful, And I'm thinking, man, the old days, I'd be like, no matter how old I was, I would be trying to get that, But I've been with my girlfriend now 13 years, and I finally realized, what it's like to actually have a faithful relationship, But it's been fun.
You talk about that in the book, right? I mean,
At the end of the book, we sort of take the whole book into consideration and see, what things. When I look back and I go, wow, I can't believe we disrespected all the hotel rooms. I mean, we destroyed them for no reason. We wrecked them. We ended up paying for it, which I didn't know about until later in life.
Yeah, it's recoupable.
I was like that song, I have accountants pay for them all, Joe Walsh, And but it's crazy, when I look back at all this stuff that I thought we got away with. And we did get away with a lot, We did get away with a lot, but again, times were different than they are now.
Well, you were kind of writing the manual.
You were born at the right time for all of it.
It's like this.
I got into it at the right time. I mean, that time in music, it was more than music. It was a whole movement.
Right.
It was a musical movement when these stations were being created. They were underground stations, FM stations. And they were like starting to sprout up. Wherever we went, traveled, they started sprouting up. There was one here, there's one in Philadelphia. Now there's one in New York. There's one in California. There's one in L.A. You know. Now there's two in California. Now there's one more in L.A. You know.
Right.
And then they started growing. Then it became, you know, I remember watching it grow. And you know, when it became AOR radio, when it was good, because everybody made records, everybody got airplay, and everybody toured.
Well, it was a crazy time in the way everything was changing then too. I mean, not unlike today in some ways, but you could turn on AM radio and hear Vanilla Fudge, followed by Helen Reddy, followed by you know, it was.
Well, I mean, our first trip to the West Coast, which was 1967. I never been on a plane before. And I was 19 years old, 20 years old, and I'd never been on a plane. And we opened up for the Mamas and the Papas.
Wow.
And we got booed off the stage. You know? But Mark Stein, our keyboard, said, look, we flew 3,000 miles to be here, and you're going to hear this music whether you like it or not. So you might as well enjoy it.
Shut up and sit down.
By the time we were done, we got a standing ovation. You know? And but you know, it was different then. You know, I mean, Jimi Hendrix opened for the Monkees. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
he ended up giving them a finger and walking off.
That was a crazy one. And then until they really started getting to the point where those acts from our generation, Jimi Hendrix and the Cream and the Who and Jefferson Airplane and the Grateful Dead and all. Then we started just playing stuff all together, you know, amongst ourselves. We didn't use the Helen Reddys or the.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we played a gig with Vanilla Fudge in Seattle with Sonny and Cher.
Wow.
You know, that was such a mismatch.
Right.
You know, even though we did one of their songs. But, you know,
Well, that's another thing that's really interesting about the book in that time is, and it's no offense, but it's sort of like Forrest Gumpian. Like every page is like another icon that you're hanging out with in L.A. and just jamming with, and you end up in a room with.
Yeah, somebody said that to me. They said, you're like the Forrest Gump of rock and roll.
Yeah,
Let's
no,
quick thing.
It's a pair of headphones
Get
if you
them
want
the
to.
fourth mic then.
We're going on live, you know?
It's 100.3 The Sound. We're Southern California's classic rock. And today we've got a really fun guest in the studio. Carmine Appice is with us.
The
Carmine
Forrest
Appice.
Gump of rock and roll, right? Correctly labeled.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Love is like a box of chocolates. Founding member of Vanilla Fudge.
Right.
Beck Bogart and Appice.
Yep.
Played with Rod Stewart. So many bands. Literally wrote the book on rock drumming.
Yeah,
I mean,
and the Van Halen's favorite band, Cactus.
Cactus.
Wow. And you were also Prince's roommate for a brief moment, which is an incredible
for a brief
story.
moment.
Like all of a sudden, that guy shows up.
That was out in Studio City, you know.
Wow.
And before he made it.
What-
Interesting story.
Well, and we're going to talk about those stories. He's going to share that story on Facebook Live. If you go to 100.3 The Sound right now, we're talking to him live all the way through the commercials, through behind the songs and so forth, so you can hear all of these stories in their entirety, and not just bits and bobs of it here as we go through. But I want to get his
Don't forget,
opinion.
Thursday night I'm going to be at the Book Soup doing that.
Yes, he's doing a signing of this new book that he's got out. It's called Stick It, My Life of Sex, Drums, and Rock and Roll at Book Soup on Thursday night.
Thursday night, 7 o'clock.
At 7 o'clock.
And, you know, a lot of authors read. I don't read. I just tell stories.
Okay, well, we're going to repeat all of that information, but go and join us while we do this. But you join us for this. We want your opinion on something that we do every day.
Okay.
It's called Song Fight. This is where Christian and I each pick a song. We don't know what each other's chosen. It's it's like Indian poker, right? So then people text and they decide which one wins.
Okay.
It's an apple and oranges thing.
Well,
We're going to have you weigh in.
That's how Vanilla Fudge started.
We're going to see if one of us gets the Appice bump at the end of this.
Okay.
But I won yesterday, so I get to go first.
Whatever.
So I've chosen a song by these fellas.
Oh, come on, dude!
Well, this is a great song.
This is my wheelhouse.
This is Genesis. No Reply.
No, I'm
at all.
fully aware of who this is.
It's a fantastic song. I don't know why you're
Richard.
mad. I'll skip ahead to the hook. So
Yeah,
familiarize
why don't
yourself
you?
with it.
Douche.
So good. I really like these guys. I love Phil Collins.
Carmine, I'll fill you in off the air as to why this is so abhorrent and offensive to me. Just so you know.
Well, buddy, it's your turn. What do you have to throw on the hump against this?
This. Just wait. It's coming.
Oh, this is nice.
It is nice.
Well, Come Sail Away from
Yeah,
Styx?
it's a classic, buddy.
Sure.
Classic. What did I say earlier?
Earlier you said if these people don't vote for you tonight,
Yeah.
they're animals and don't deserve your attention.
Yes, and I'm going to quit Songfight after today, Carmine. If this doesn't win, which would you vote for?
Hold on, I'll skip to the hook for everybody.
Come sail away with me. It's triumphant. It's everything. It's not going to win against Machine of Genesis.
Okay, so Carmine, what would you choose out of those two? No reply at all from Genesis.
That's a rough one because I know both of them.
Uh-huh.
But I got to go with the Genesis.
Yeah!
Oh, I love that. Well,
Because,
it's really...
because Genesis were really... I mean, Phil Collins was a great singer and a great
I
drummer.
agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't think that Christian really feels that, but I agree. You and me are simpatico.
I can't wait to kick you square in the nuts when we get off the air today.
If you think that the Genesis wins, text A to 21003. If it's Christian's Come Sail Away, then text C to 21003. Don't text and drive, that's stupid. Standard rates apply. Results announced after 6 o'clock, and we'll play the winner in its entirety. Join us right now on Facebook Live, because we're going to continue our talk with Carmine Appice and have a lot more fun and play great classic rock. This is 100.3 The Sound.
How do your advertisers like this? They go to the commercial and you go to Facebook.
Yeah, no, we don't.
Well, they love that their commercials are being played on the air instead of pushback.
Can you imagine if everybody did what you said and go to Facebook?
Oh, right.
That's what we would be hoping.
Well, the beauty of it, though, is that this lives on our page for
forever.
days. So, we can talk about it, and anybody can go back and look at it and watch the whole thing.
It's
It's
so
gonna
easy
have
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
such
remember
a better way to do it.
do that. You need video cameras.
Just so you know, I'm the hugest Phil Collins and Genesis fan on the fucking planet, so the fact that he's picked a Genesis song is actually an insult to me.
Oh.
Because now I have to put a song
Now
against
get
my
it.
favorite band and favorite musician of all time. This is a Phil Collins tattoo, so this guy is not a friend. Okay, so if you're on this side of the table, so the fact that you went with him on the Genesis is also a barn, and I'm backing out of this interview. And by the way, do you know the conceit about the tattoo? Have you been told this business? All right, so I have a tramp stamp on the base of my spine, which is where tramp stamps live, of this chick that I had. You might be familiar with this. I had sex with her a lot, but I didn't really like her very much. So when I started this radio show, Andy crossed it out, and I had his autograph put on the base of my spine to replace hers with. And the conceit is that when somebody comes into the studio that I think is more famous and better suited than Andy to be a tattoo on my back, they get to do it. So today, you'll get to Sharpie your autograph on my back, and then our tattoo guy is going to show up, and then he's going to put it into my back.
Wow.
So,
You must have a lot of shit on your back.
not yet, but there's a codicil. Do you know Stuart Copeland,
Yeah.
the drummer for the Police?
I'm going to see him in a couple of days.
Good. When you go to see him, tell him to go fuck himself. Because when he came in, we asked him to do it, and I have the most enormous Stuart Copeland autograph on my back that you've ever seen. No, I'm not kidding you. Carmine.
man.
All right, this is what Stuart did to me. Took 2.5 hours to get that done on the air, so you're not going to get one of those. So I like your signature. You're not going to get that much real estate. You're going to have to pare it down a little bit.
You can probably fit it inside the sea of
We're
Copeland.
Can I
thinking.
draw a drum set?
You know, you cannot draw. You can draw a drum set if you don't put your signature on it. You got two choices.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you want to put a drum set in the middle of the sea, you
I'm going to go
can.
see him in the studio. I just saw him in New York play with a really unique band.
Was that?
It
What was he
a
doing?
violinist and a
Yeah.
piano player and a bass and some weird instrument.
I was following him on. I follow him on Instagram, and he was putting up the rehearsal footage there. It looked
awesome.
awesome. Yeah, he's doing that. Did you see the thing he was doing with Ben Hur?
Oh, with the orchestra?
Yeah,
he
that's what he
told
came
me-
in for.
Yeah, he told me he's doing an orchestra thing. That's why I couldn't get together tomorrow. And I'm going to see him on Thursday.
Backing up a couple of steps, Genesis, what's your story with them?
I just love Phil, you know. I mean, I always remember when we played the 40th anniversary of Atlantic with Vanilla Fudge.
Right.
Came up the stage and Phil was sitting on the side of the stage and said, "You guys don't know how much influence you are on me." You know, but I knew him before that. I said, "Wow, thanks, man." You know, I love Phil as a player. Great voice. In the air tonight. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my drumming hero. I'm a drummer, and he's the reason that I became a drummer.
But you hear that
After
all the
you,
time,
when
don't you? I
Phil
mean,
first, and then you.
There's a who's who of rock drummers that, I mean, all of them read your book.
Yeah.
It's Hal Blaine and you for the influential level of influence.
I just did an event in Nashville, that had the wrecking crew there, but Hal wasn't there.
Oh, for the
They got an award.
for the documentary or whatever.
Yeah, for the documentary.
Yeah, it was incredible, that documentary. When he's talking about how he was driving around LA back in the day in a Rolls Royce, and he lost
And
it all
then,
to
then he lost everything.
everything to the wives, you know, and with the
I know
ex-wife.
that one, dude.
Been there, have you?
I've been there. I was married 5 times.
Were you really?
Oh God! Really?
How many times was Hal Blaine married though? It's pretty close to that, wasn't
Pretty
it?
close to that.
Yeah, he was up in those numbers as
But
well.
I'm still doing all right.
So,
I still have my Jaguar.
Oh, you do? Can you tell us a story about going drum shopping with Bonham?
Yeah.
What was that about?
Well, basically, Vanilla Fudge was playing this gig in where was it? Denver, and they were they were opening up for us. Now the promoter didn't want him. We ended up paying half their fee, which is $1,500. So we paid $750 to have Led Zeppelin open up for us. And that's when I met Bonham. I'd heard the record, and I loved the way he played, and I loved that bass drum, the triplet on the bass drum. And he said that he got it from me, and I said, I don't do that. I said, I do it with the hand, and maybe.
Oh, you did it in between?
Yeah, I would go like,
Right.
you know. But then he said I did it on my bass drum. I would go like bop, da-da-bop, da-da-bop, da-da-bop on one song. And he pointed it out on one song, and he said, so I heard it there, and I took it, and I liked it, and I developed on it. So then he saw my huge drum set I had. I had the big maple kit from Ludwig. It was 226 bass drums and 12 by 15 marching drum was my small drum at the time, and I had a
You started at a
16 by
12,
18.
15
Yeah, I had a 16 by 18. I had a 22 bass drum on its side.
as a floor
With
tom?
rims as a floor tom. I had the gong and big 6.5-inch deep snare. And when he saw that, he had like a little, 22 by 14 and everything little. He just flipped out. So I remember calling Ludwig for him and saying, "Look, I think this band is going to be big." That was the 5 decades later.
Right.
Humongous.
Might be.
That was the understatement of 5 decades. Thank you. And we became friends, and he had. So that's why the drums sound so different from the first album to the
Right.
second album. Second album was the kid I got him was the big bass drums and the big toms and big everything.
Hey, we've got a minute and a half, but I want to ask you a question over the beginning of the song here, real quick.
Okay.
We're in the studio. We've got Carmine Appice, legendary rock drummer. I want to play you this Steve Miller comment real quick. Steve Miller at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he thinks it's bunk like I do. Why is Vanilla Fudge not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Dude, I don't have a clue. And it's something that really pisses me off because I thought it was about innovation
Right.
and about influence. And
No.
Vanilla Fudge influenced
It's about
so many
Jan
people.
Winter and his politics.
Yeah.
That's what it's
Yeah,
about.
now it's about, come on, they're putting rap in there. Give me a break. They should have called it the Music Hall of Fame.
Madonna was in the Hall of Fame
Yeah,
15 years ago.
Yeah, Madonna. I mean,
And Vanilla Fudge aren't.
no. And neither is like Alice Cooper. He's not in it yet, is he?
Seriously? Well, Boston and ELO and Jethro Tull, Jan and Dean aren't in there for crying out.
Sticks, my song fight pick. Not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Andy.
Yeah.
We're talking with Carmine Appice. Join us
Hey,
on
but
Facebook
when the Rock
Live.
Walk,
Yeah, you can
There
come
you
and
go.
see him on
Yeah.
at the
The Guitar Center?
yeah.
Boom.
We're talking on Facebook Live. Go join us 100.3 the summer when we talk with Carmine Appice. That blows me away that you
blows
guys
me
aren't.
away.
That's
Why?
ridiculous.
Well, you know what else blows me away? We don't get airplay on these stations either. We're not on any of these classic rock stations owned by Clear Channel.
Really?
And
Well-
we're not on the other thing, K-Earth either.
Well, it's true because now
We're not on K-Earth. we're not
anything
on-
from the 60s they think is they're playing stuff from the 90s.
You mean K-Earth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so-called oldies.
Yeah. And then here, in these classic rock, classic rock now is Motley Crue.
Yeah, I mean, they give you the definition of it, like, it's, if you go just by time, it's like Nirvana at this point is classic rock, because that shit's 20 plus years old. It's
Yeah.
insane.
But with Vanilla Fudge, it really hurts because the Who, Jimi Hendrix, the Queen, everybody still gets airplay
Right.
on these stations, but us.
Hey, for the people listening on Facebook Live right now, this song right here.
Yeah.
Rod Stewart song, right? Written by that guy right there. How'd that happen? How did you
Yeah,
come
let's
to write
talk
a
about
disco
that.
song?
That's so sick.
That wasn't the way we wanted it.
Really?
That was the way the producer put it. When we recorded that, Rod used to listen to the charts and say, well, the stuff's in the book too, by the way. He'd say, you know, I want a song like Miss You by the Rolling Stones.
Yeah. Disco song.
It's the same tempo.
Is it really?
It's the same tempo.
These
Oh,
are
yeah,
all
I
live
just-
drums, though, right?
Yeah, it's live drums. And David Foster's playing on this.
Really?
Yeah, Tom Scott's the sax player.
Wow.
But when we recorded it, so we all went back to our places and came back with songs for Rod to listen to. He liked mine.
Are we on Andy Nathan's?
Amazing because I'm the drummer and I play some keyboard. And I had it. I went to my
Share it
buddy
later.
Wayne Hitchings' house, and we after I wrote it at home, I went to his studio and we put it down so it sounded good.
Right.
And then he loved it. You know, I did a version of this with Pat Travers. It's a heavy rock version. You know?
Really?
You
Man,
can
that's a name I
find
haven't
it
heard in a
on,
You
while.
can find that on the internet.
Is he still
on
out making
internet.
music?
Yeah,
Boom, boom, out go the lights
we have a
and-
new record.
Snorting whiskey and...
Travis Appice. TNA.
Is he really?
Everybody needs a little
TNA. See what you did there. It's pretty dang
Everybody
good.
needs TNA every day, man.
All right, what's the Do You Think I'm Sexy on? Is it on?
It's called, you can go to YouTube.
Yeah, I'm on there right
Go
now.
to YouTube and put up Carmine Appice, Pat Travers. Do you think I'm sexy?
But everybody was doing that. Kiss, you know.
Yeah,
They were
well, Kiss
playing.
did it after we had our hit.
They were doing disco records. The Eagles did disco
Because
records.
I was hanging with Paul at the time. But you know, the funny thing is, when we recorded this with you, when we did fat guitars playing that groove, it was fat. And then Tom got to the this on it. This is our new version. Sounds nothing like it, right?
The snare is cute.
Slash Brian May, Ted Nugent, Zach Wild. Who's playing guitar on this?
That's right. I just did this in Nashville and I got a horn chart sitting on the horn playing.
Really?
I'm singing. I do sing too.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Well, you did.
I did BDA, I did,
You did backgrounds on like Do You Think I'm Sexy or something, right?
yeah, I did back on the wall, I did People Get Ready on the
Good.
This is closer to the. Have you heard the
Yes. Said the
the
English group.
the Bolton Cox version of it?
Yeah,
The
that's where I
Revco.
got the idea.
Yeah, the Revco version's insane. Like I remember hearing that when that first came out. We were like,
Yeah, I know.
"This is sick,
Yeah, I
dude."
loved it.
The
I made it a little more rock.
yeah, like Alan Jorgensen went completely
In
the
the
other
middle
way.
is
with
a
it.
killer solo by Pat. Really awesome. So it's good. You know, I like to have fun with it. I sent that to Rod and I never heard back.
Really?
Yeah. But Rod's good. He wrote the intro to the book, you know.
Yeah, we saw that.
The intro is funny because he's praising me as a musician and a character. He said rock loves characters and Carmine's a character and he's a great drummer and everything. He used to go like this to me when playing. I didn't know what that meant. He said, stop the fills. I was doing too many fill-ins. And then he said, I fired him. God knows why. You know, I know why. He was doing too much coke.
You heard it here first.
And he knows. It's in his book. You know?
Right.
I mean, in his book, he's telling everybody how much coke he did, and he can put it up his butt.
Yeah. No, it
Well, that
was a
saves
big,
the septum in the nose.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
the
but he's a
Stevie
good
Nicks
guy.
trip.
I mean, Ron was a good guy. You know, when you wrote a song with him, he didn't take your publishing. You got your publishing. You got your credit. We had the Rod Stewart band. Everybody was handpicked for that band.
Right.
And we were actually his band. He traveled with us. We partied with him. You know, we even have percentages of the take on the road.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
Now,
Well, that's the difference between you and Hal Blaine, then, is that you're still, you know, if you got pieces of Do You Know
Yeah.
I'm Sexy.
well, you know,
then-
Kenny Arnoff, I ran into Kenny in Japan one time. We had the longest conversation on the phone. I said, dude, where are you? He said, I'm in room 610. I go, well, let's meet in the lobby. I'm in my room, too. And he was telling me how he would he wanted to. Wish he had some of the stuff I have. So I got royalties from all the different bands and stuff, and he never really got royalties.
Yeah,
it's the same thing as Hal
he was
playing.
just a studio guy,
sessions.
right?
And he said, you know, I make good money, but I have to work all the time to make it. He said, you don't.
Yeah, publishing, you're making money while you're sleeping.
Yeah, not anymore, but
you used to.
Record, used to. I mean, I just got my copyright back for Sexy.
Did you really?
I sold it back to Warner Chappell because I mean, the mechanicals on it are ridiculous. Bad. Horrible.
Yeah, no, because there's no money making.
I still got the ASCAP. That still makes
because that's the radio play and.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, there's no sales with the way the internet killed everything.
Yeah, it's one of the things I rail against and people don't understand is that's you know the money, the pool of money available for the people that wrote that stuff is disappearing. Yeah.
Between Spotify and all that.
Do a quick thing here.
Of course, isn't it always? Yeah.
Are we talking?
All right, we're talking in the studio here at 100.3 The Sound with Carmine Appice, legendary rock drummer and author of Stick It. I'll tell you about the book in just a couple of minutes, but we're going to see if we can get him to tell us a story. We're on Facebook Live right now. He's going to tell us about when he lived with Prince, when he shared a house with Prince.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Here in Southern
You're reading the book
California.
and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, and then I was roommates with Prince for a little bit. You're like, but really?
Join us on Facebook Live right now. This is The Sound. How did that come about? How did that come about?
Well, it starts out that I was getting divorced and I lived in Los Feliz. And now I'm in LA. I can talk to you.
Yeah, now we know where you are.
I know what I'm talking about. So I lived in Los Feliz and I had a nice house there. And but my ex-wife was staying in the house. I wanted to get out. So a friend of mine worked for the management company with Prince, Cavallo, Ruffalo, Farnoli. They also managed like Earth, Wind & Fire, Little Feat, a lot of big acts. And so my friend Jamie was the owner of the house. She was having some financial problems and she needed some help. So I said, hey, how about if I buy into the house and then you give me a place to hang, you know? So I had a Pantera and a Jaguar.
You had a Pantera?
Yeah, 40 years I had the Pantera.
What color was it?
Red.
Of course.
Right. As a matter of fact, the reason why Vince Neil got a Pantera
was because of you?
So mine. And so I needed a place to park the Pantera, so I bought into the house, and she said, oh, by the way, one of our young artists stays here. He doesn't like hotels, he's very shy, and he stays at the house. So, but he usually stays in your room. I said, that's fine, I have a new girlfriend, I'm staying at her house a lot, and I'm also, you know, like traveling with Rod still, and everything's good. The first time I went back to the house, that Prince was there, he was in the den playing some music. I walked in, you know, I'm a 6 foot almost, big Italian, loudmouth from Brooklyn. I'm going, hey Prince, what's up, man? How you doing? Nice to meet you. He goes, hi. That was it. You know, and then it's like, is that your music? Yes. I said, man, this guy doesn't talk much, you know. So I realized that he was, you know, very like introverted, and you know,
right.
I was like, really, you know, I wasn't going over very well, you know. So over the years, though, I was there probably a year and a half. You know, we got to know each other and everything, and especially one time he asked me to drive him to Hollywood, and I took him in the Pantera. I scared him. But then, you know, but we became sort of friends, and you know, when he was up in the house, it was. I walked in one night to get something. I didn't know he was there. I walked in. Him and Vanity were in my bed.
Oh.
Right. So this stuff is in the book, you know, and it like it was fun, you know, but he was getting bigger and bigger. Then he opened up for the Stones.
Right.
At the
Coliseum.
And he got
didn't
booed
go
off the
well,
stage.
right?
Were you at that show?
No, but he came home and he was bummed out.
That was then.
He was bummed out, depressed, and I was talking to him, and I said, dude, look, don't worry about it. I said, look, Vanilla Fudge got booed off the stage with the Mamas and the Papas. It didn't hurt our career. We went on to be plenty big. So don't worry about it, you know. It'll pass, you know.
It is, you're walking into the Lion's Den wearing, you know,
and then
trench coat
and then, like,
in front of a bunch of bikers.
When I moved out, it was like he made it with the 1999. He invited me to see him at Universal. And he sold out, and I went down with Jamie, and I couldn't believe this is
It's the same guy? Right.
He's wearing like women's underwear on stage.
Yeah.
He's got a mattress. He's laying down like he's having sex with the mattress. I'm going, my God. This guy's so like introverted at home,
Right.
and this is like
on stage it's a whole
sort of like
different cat.
Hendrix, a little bit like Hendrix.
Right.
And Michael
Much
Jackson.
more.
Yeah.
Much more of a spread, you know.
Right.
And then went backstage. I was doing these symphonic drums at the time, and I gave him one, so I know he liked electronic drums. He thanked me, and then, you know, he kept going. I was invited to the premiere of Purple Rain. I sat next to Sheila Reed.
Wow.
You know, she didn't know me. I didn't know her either. You know? And that was fun. And then over the years, he had drummers that I knew. And I would say, hey, tell Prince I said hi. And they would come back and say, Prince says hi back.
That's awesome.
And now when he passed away, I was talking to Jamie. She lives in Florida now. And she said, you know, Prince always loved you. He really respected you and loved you as a person. I said, well, I never really knew that, but thank you for that, you know.
Right.
And you know, and funny, when the book was first coming out, we had a one sheet before he died. And it said, you know, share the house with Prince. And it was sort of at the bottom of the bullet points, you know?
Right.
And then when as soon as he passed away, I've been doing all this press for the book. That was like the first thing.
First thing
people-
people
Right,
asked
yeah.
about. Nobody nobody saw that one.
Well, and the thing is that you were, you know, your story, that's one of my favorites in the book, is like that's before he's anybody. So you're
Yeah.
there at like the ground level of
Yeah,
that.
matter of
Like,
fact,
who else had that experience?
I remember this button she had, Jamie had on the it was on the blind. She had it pinned up, and it said, "Punk Funk Prince." And that's what they were calling him, Punk Funk.
That's good.
Well, yeah, some guy actually on NPR said that I think that the compliment of compliments for Prince was that his genre was Prince.
Yeah.
You couldn't fit him into any other box. He was
No.
whatever he did was his own thing.
Yeah.
Now, like, so with the Forrest Gumpian thing of the rock and roll, what was the point when you were in the room going, I can't fucking believe that this is happening? Because I mean, throughout the book, it's
With
like
what?
just anything. Like, at what point were you blown away by the Carmine Appice story? Like, when were you taken aback? You know, because we should read the book. Every page, you're like, I can't believe this happened.
I lived it, so to me, it's different. You know, I tell you what was really interesting. I had 2 rotator cuff surgeries. Right now, when I was doing one of them, I was getting rehab, and my writer sent me the first chapter, which is called Ask Sharon. Okay, and it's about me getting fired from the Ozzy tour.
Bark the Moon Tour, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
why?
and
why
I
did
was
that?
reading it, and I know the story, and I'm reading it, and then it said, "Okay, Carmine, come on in." I said, "Hold on a minute, I'm reading the story." I mean, the guy wrote it so well that he sucked me in, you know, and it was great, you know. I mean, she just didn't like the fact that I had my stuff together, you know. I was doing master classes in the afternoon. I was making big money cash every day, 5 days a week, plus her salary, plus per diem, and I had my own PR person. I had my own merch on the tour. That was in the Motley Crue, the Dirt book, where somebody cut all the heads off of my merchandise, off of my T-shirts. The same night that, I'm not going to give away the story, the same night that something drastic happened to the show that involved me, and you know, and then at the end, she just said my name was too big, and they wanted a sideman back, and they took on Tommy Yoles, and I needed to start my own band. So I did. So I started King Cobra.
Which is massive in Japan.
Yeah.
What is it about Japan and their love of American hair?
Well,
hair
not
bands?
anymore. Not anymore.
But in the
It
90s,
used to be.
it was
In the
huge.
80s, 90s, it was huge. Then they learned that their own acts became the gods over there. You know.
Right.
Yeah. There's a group there called the Bees. I was in Japan a lot in the 90s, and there was something like I saw Kiss at the Tokyo Dome, and I thought that was great. You know, fun. I hung out with those guys. And then about 2 weeks later, these Bees played there 3 nights at the Tokyo Dome. They had more equipment and more stage stuff, more effects than Kiss.
Were they dressed as bees?
No.
Oh, thank God for that.
They would just look like rock gods.
Right.
And see, that's the funny thing about like the 90s when the grunge came in. I loved the music and everything, but they all looked like the road crew.
Right.
They
There's
didn't
no
look like
style
rock
at
stars
all.
anymore.
Right.
Everybody, and it's been like that since. You know, the rock stars don't look like rock stars anymore. You know,
It's very true.
They look like the crew.
Well, I was looking at we were looking at the photographs in here, which are extraordinary, I might add. I mean, this is, so we've worked out that you actually may have created,
in addition to pioneering
double bass
drumming and a number
just
of
heavy hitting period, you might have invented the duck face selfie thing from Instagram. Have you seen this? Like this pose is what everyone's pulling off these days. You invented this.
Yeah.
Look.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, this is, look at this. Yeah, go on Instagram. You're the guy. Like, that is the most Instagram. It's
I call
awesome.
that my sex symbol pose.
Oh, yeah, no, you nailed it. Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, look, this guy is amazing.
Yeah, that was Neil Slozo. And, Neil Slozo, he's a great photographer. He had me down. He used to say, "Give me the look. Give me the look.
And that's the
I
look.
need the look." And that's the look.
No, it's awesome. Yeah, I mean, the photographs are incredible.
Yeah, I like the one with me at the drum pad. And it says behind me, the very first page of the photos, it says, "The Fetzer Piano School." And I'm sitting there, I'm taking a picture. That was the first thing they did. You sit down, they take a picture, and then they give you a lesson. That was the only time I was there.
That was it? You quit right after? Yeah, no, I did
It
the
was
same
so
thing.
awful, I said, "I'm not doing this." And I tried learning myself. Then eventually I took lessons from one guy, a drummer. He was a great teacher.
Who you take drummers from?
This guy Dick Bennett in New York, and
Okay.
my brother Vinny went to him too.
So, what was that like, having a brother that was also playing?
Well, it was interesting because the first time, it's in the book. That's one of my Jaguars there. I bought that
the white
Jaguar.
one?
I bought that white one from Gene Cornish from the Rascals.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Oh, dude, it's
I had
classic.
that for 40 years too.
Did you have the Pantera for 40 years,
40
dude?
years. I bought it in '72 and got rid of it in like 2012.
This guy.
Wow.
Look at that.
I mean,
So
That
you
was,
and your
that was in
brother,
the
you get
Peterson
along?
Museum. Yeah.
Are you close? You and your brother?
Hey?
You and your brother, are you close?
Yeah. I just talked to him when we were in there with Joe.
oh, did you really?
Yeah. He said, "Well, we're doing a gig Saturday night. We do these drum wars thing.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, it's like the drum battles, like Gene Cooper, Buddy Rich.
Yeah.
and rock
Nice.
music. We'll open up with Mob Rules. We'll both play it, and then we do these drum solos. We have a wave drum, electronic drum,
Right.
Korg wave drum, and we play like drum part. We throw sticks back and forth. If somebody misses it, we go, "Man, why didn't you throw it right?" And we stop the whole thing and we argue.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really a lot of fun, and we do these drum battles, and then we play our songs. I do "Bark at the Moon" and "Do You Think I'm Sexy." He does "We Rock" and "Holy Diver."
Where are you doing that?
We're doing it in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
But look, we have a manager now that's putting together a West Coast tour. So
Oh, no, yeah, I'd love to
we'll
see
do
that.
something in LA.
Yeah, no, if you do that, please come back.
We did
Yeah.
it. We did one at the Whiskey, and but they forgot to advertise.
If you do it,
Smart.
let us
No, you
know
don't
about it. We'll advertise for you.
Yeah, we'll advertise and have you back in.
Okay.
And if your
Well,
brother, that would
now
be.
I know you guys. At the time, I didn't have Joe's number. I had an old number of Joe's. And Joe, on our album, we have a Drum Wars CD, and Joe did the intro for us. And it's like a funny thing because we mix up, the drums, the music, and some comedy.
Right.
Because Vinny's funny as hell, and the intro is like, "From Black Sabbath, from Dio, and John Lennon, weighing in at 175 pounds, playing the single bass drum, Vinny Appice." And he comes out and he goes like that, and for me he goes, "Weighing it from Vanilla Fudge and Black Sabbath, Blue Murder and Ozzy or whatever it was, weighing in at a whopping 375 pounds. Oh my God! Playing double bass drums to burn more calories." Carmine Appice, and I walk out with a pillow. I'm gonna pull a pillow out, and then we get going, and we really get the audience. It's like a wrestling match.
Right.
But Joe did the intro for us.
Is your brother still playing single bass drum?
Yeah.
And you're doing the double?
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
It's really great.
Yeah.
Because we're planning, we're working on a drum camp for New York for Long Island. We just did a clinic about 3 weeks ago in Long Island. It was amazing.
Where on Long Island are you from?
It was in where was it? Seaford.
Okay.
At the Seaford American Legion Hall.
Oh.
Yeah, that was great. But so maybe when they're close, we have fun. We're also playing in Buffalo the week after that.
Were you guys competitive? You must have been competitive back at the.
Not really.
Really?
Because I'm 11 years older.
Oh, right.
So
Okay.
when I went home, and I left the drum set home. He was like 9 years old, and I was 20. And he'd come up to me and said, "Pull me into the porch where we had an enclosed porch, and he had the drums. He started playing." And my mother would say, "How is he?" I said, "Oh, he sounds good. He's got talent. How did he learn this?" He goes, "He's driving me nuts, just like you."
All right, let's wrap things up here on the air because I want to make sure people get the information again. And are we gonna do the signing?
Yeah.
Want to do a sign?
Yeah.
Are you up for that?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, are you up
Hey, I'll
for
be
it?
on the
Are
back.
you going to suffer through that?
I've never signed backs. I've signed boobs, but not
No.
backs.
You're not signing my boobs.
It's 100.3 The Sound. We're Southern California's classic rock. Listen to some Rod Stewart in the studio here while we're on Facebook Live. Song co-written by this guy right here, or just outright written.
What's that?
Would
You,
you?
just, you have the entire writing credit for Do You
No,
Think I'm
no,
Sexy?
co-written.
Co-written. Okay.
Rod always wrote his own lyrics.
We've
Oh,
got-
really? So you didn't come up with the "Do you think I'm sexy" line? That was him.
That was him.
We've got
Man.
Carmine Appice here, and he's a legendary drummer, the founder of Vanilla Fudge, and
I
so
just
many
had
other
my
bands.
influence on that last song.
Rod
Yeah.
Stewart,
The
Ted
Gong.
Nugent, the Gong
It's true.
on
Yep.
Bohemian Rhapsody,
Yeah.
Beck Bogart and Appice, Ozzy Osbourne, and so forth. We've been talking about his new book. It's out. It's called Stick It: My Life of Sex, Drums, and Rock and Roll. It just came out at the beginning of this month. He's doing a signing at Book Soup on Thursday at 7 o'clock on Sunset. So if you want to get a copy of it and get it signed by Carmine, he'll be out
Come
there.
down, come down. It's
Yes.
fun.
But go to Facebook Live on 100.3 The Sound. We've made him stick around for 45 minutes
Yeah, it's
now,
been
telling
awesome.
us stories out of his book for free. So go and check that out. I want to ask you, put you on the spot with one last question here. I read, we talked about debauchery and hooliganism on the video here, but I heard that you have a habit of giving instruments to kids that can't afford them and making sure they have musical instruments, and you've been doing that for a long time. How does that make you feel when you give an instrument to a kid that
Good.
didn't have one before?
Good. That's the little kids rock you're talking about. Yeah. Makes you feel good because it goes beyond just the instruments, because we've given instruments to them. I've given them drum books, instructional books, and drumsticks and all that stuff. But working with them is really fun. You know, like I did one in the Bronx, and you know, you go in the Bronx, and you walk outside the school, and it's a junkyard with gang writing on. It's gang writing everywhere, and it's really bad neighborhood. And they keep the kids after school so they don't have to deal with that. And you know, and I wrote songs with them. I told them I should, you know, somebody come up with a rhythm, a chord. So they come up with a chord. And I go, all right, we're going to write a lyric. What are we going to write about? And they said, let's write about what I had for breakfast. That's a good idea. So what'd you have for breakfast? What'd you have? So then we started putting lyrics together, what they had for breakfast, and you know, how they made the breakfast. And first they got up and they brushed their teeth, or what, you know,
That's awesome.
whatever it was. It was so much fun, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, last thing to take care of here is Christian's back. We said this at the beginning of the show.
He's back? He's back? I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm back.
The Mendoza line of fame is my name on his
Yes.
back, and everyone else goes above him.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can sign smaller than Stuart Copeland did, he would like for you to put some.
It's
Sharpie
not an
on the
if,
back. The rest of the
Carmine.
show
It's
is
a
gonna be
when.
spent Inking that in.
Yes.
Okay?
I can do that.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Carmine, lots of
Yes,
fun
this has
having
been
you.
awesome,
Thank you.
man.
It was
The
great.
book, once again, Stick It: My Life of Sex, Drums, and Rock and Roll. Go buy a copy of it and go see him on Thursday at Book Soup on Sunset at 7 p.m. Thanks a lot,
Hopefully we'll
Carmine.
see you guys with Drum Wars.
Yes.
Yes, when you come
yes.
back around, tell us, and we'll let people know about it.
Absolutely.
We got to have Jill Benson do it live.
Without a doubt.
Yes, that would be fantastic. All right, stick around. More classic rock on the way on 100.3 The Sound. Awesome. All right, let's get that signing.
Okay.
Do you have a Sharpie for him?
Yeah, I got a fucking Sharpie for him. Hi, Eileen. This is our in-house tattoo guy. That's how
Oh,
serious.
yeah.
do you actually do the tattoo?
Yeah, live on the air for the rest of the show.
Pleasure to meet you. Actually.
Oh, you're gonna do it now?
Yes.
Yeah,
We do it
on
while
the
the
air.
show ends.
I gotta watch it.
Yeah.
It'll be on Facebook Live.
Okay. I gotta take some pictures myself. They record it.
All right.
All right, dude.
Don't be a douche.
All right. You don't want it like this big?
Yeah.
All right. I'll be nice. I'll put it inside Copeland.
There you go.
There you go. Is it tasteful? Oh, look at that. That's perfect.
Is it nice? Nicely
Yeah,
done.
that's great.
All right.
I will know later if it's tastefully done. And can you do me a favor? Would you mind signing
Yeah,
the
sure.
book?
I see you.
Yeah. All right.
Was it Christian?
Yes.
Okay. Christian or Chris?
Christian.
Or Chris?
Christian. Nah, nobody calls me Chris. Don't get away with that. There's too many of those.
This was fun, Carmine.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And
No, it's
absolutely,
fun,
you
man.
got a show in town, or you got anything to let people know about you, you get in touch with us. And
Yeah.
Make sure
Yeah.
that we.
Well, give me some of these numbers. I only got Joe.
Yeah, we'll give you Sammy's number.
This guy right here.
And then it would be awesome to have you and your brother.
Yeah, well,
That would be
well, we
fucking
can do that.
so cool. Have you guys come in and do the same thing.
Friday morning we're going on the Mancow show. And,
Oh, you really?
Yeah.
That guy.
Only by phone because we're playing Chicago area.
Right.
So I went on it 2 weeks ago. I walked on it, and who's on it but me and Zach Wild.
Oh, really?
We were on there for an hour and a half.
I'm sure.
It was fun.
awesome.
And Zach's mouth just never stops. He's like Nugent. He just keeps going. Did you ever talk to Nugent?
I have not, but I've
His mouth
seen many
never
interviews.
stops.
Yeah.
I've got to go find out what's going on
with
with
all those guys? You still play with them?
this. I'll be right back.
With that?
Okay. Yeah.
I don't play with him, but he wrote, he wrote the back part of my book. He's a friend. I know him since 1968.
Wow. Since
Brian
Amboy
May
Goose
still-
days?
Brian May. I called up Brian. I said, dude, I want something for the back of the book, and he wrote it. And all those guys, Max Weinberg and
Right.
Malcolm Ramon.
I like Max Weinberg's comment.
Yeah,
he
Max is a
even,
good guy.
Even grew a Fu Manchu to.
I just did that thing in New York. We did a book release party. We had Mark Hudson. We had what's his name? Paul Schaefer came up and played with us. He played to Keep Hanging On. And then we had Gene from the Rascals come up with the Good Lovin' at the end. And we did like Mark Hudson's a great singer, And do you know who he is? He's a producer. He wrote that song for Aerosmith. Bring me down the front, take it to the edge. What's the name of that
Living
song?
on the Edge.
Yeah, Living on the Edge.
That's it.
He's got that. He wrote that. He wrote a lot of songs for Steven Tyler, and he's a great writer, great singer. Anyway, we were doing like Rod songs like "Stay With Me" that I played every night.
Right.
Horns. We
With
put a horn
horns?
section on it. We did Give Them Sexy, that arrangement with horns, and
That's hot.
and a couple of nights ago I played with Jim Pederick. Jim is the guy from Eye of the Tiger.
Oh,
He
okay.
wrote Eye of the Tiger with the singer. He was in Survivor. Also was in Ides of March.
Wow.
And,
Vehicle?
so I played Eye of the Tiger the other night. It was
Cool.
awesome. We also played Purple Rain, as a tribute to Prince. And that was a funny one because they had this other guy playing drums on it. And I watched the rehearsal. And the guy who's running is a friend of mine. And he's also a book distributor and a CD distributor, a big one in the country. And I went up to him and I said, dude, I got to play Purple Rain. He goes, why? I said, because that guy's playing it. He can't play it. He's not playing it right. I said, that song has some soul. You got to have some soul in that song. You can't play it like a white boy. He says, all right. He says, well, go tell him. I said, no, you tell him. You be the bad guy. So he was the bad guy. And then after I played it, it was just monstrous because it was like we had 3 guitar players, the horns, we had keyboard player, we had background singers, and it was really awesome, And
And when was this?
after I played, this was Saturday night.
So this is pretty cathartic still.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
powerful to
they
play
did
this
it
stuff.
because it was a music. It was a music company convention in Nashville, and they gave the awards to the Wrecking Crew, and then
right, okay,
then
yeah.
one chick that died at she worked for Warner Brothers for a long time. She passed away, and actually my girlfriend did the voiceover dub for the piece that they had putting on video. And then right after that, we played Purple Rain in a tribute to Prince. And I said, look, I got to do it. I live with the guy, I know the guy, and that guy's not playing it right. I have to do it. At the end of it, I got to say, man, I fucking kicked ass on that song. And the drummer that was going to play came over and said, oh my God, that was unbelievable. He was like that. I said, thank you. I said, that's why I wanted to do it. So I really,
Felt it.
for me, it was right in there,
That's awesome.
Some guys just play from here.
We got to get started on the tattoo.
Yeah,
We
let's
gotta
get this.
finish it.
Let's get this
All
thing
right,
done.
yeah, I got to wait around here.
Okay.
Oh, you
Oh,
wanna see
absolutely.
this?
Make
All right.
yourself
You want to keep
comfortable.
this rolling then, or you want to go on,
Yeah, you
your
should
own
keep going
page?
for it.
Okay.
Right.
Well, should we do 2 separate
Yeah.
ones for the tattoo, or just put it all together? Let's keep it going.
Let's do 2 separate.
My daughter has so many tattoos,
Good stuff.
and my son.
You have any tattoos yourself?
All right, join us on Facebook Live. We're starting the tattoo
I
of
put
Carmine Appice's
100.3 right
name
here.
on Christian's
My
back.
name.
And Carmine's hanging out for it. He wants a picture of it before he leaves.
I gotta
So,
see it.
Louis' house
Yes.
for Martin Soul Tattoos is about to get started. Join us
Yeah,
on
that'd be
Facebook
good.
Live. It's continuing. 0.3 the sound. We're Southern California's classic rock and tattoo shop.
And tattoo shop.
All right, so we're gonna.
Doesn't it hurt?
Oh yeah, it sucks. Dude, the Copeland one is I've got all this shit.
You want to sit here?
Yeah, he's gonna be there, and then I'll be. You can sit in my chair right here.
I'll sit in your chair.
Okay. Okay. She's gonna be here still.
Are you gonna
Yeah,
be
I
on
think
the
that'd
air
be easier.
while you're screaming?
Yeah, we'll pot it up in between.
You hear the gun going the whole
tattoo gun
time?
going.
So you want me to do 2 separate ones then, or?
Yeah, I would do
Okay.
that so we can like end that one, and then so we're gonna.
All right. If you're watching the end of this one, go to the next one. To be continued. Turn the record over.
Say bye-bye, Andy.
Bye-bye, Andy.